So we're going to talk about culture and building a great culture and what that means today. And we're really going to look inside through this webinar series, look inside different organizations and get a peek as to what is working for different companies and how they are doing it well. Just a little bit about us. Motion Connected is an employee experience and well-being platform. We offer an innovative approach with practical solutions that boost employee engagement, improve health and well-being, and provide a positive employee experience, all while saving you as administrators of programs or HR professionals and wellness professionals time and energy. So in this webinar series, we're going to explore companies that are thriving and delivering services to keep employees happy, healthy, and engaged. And we're looking at organizations like you, the ones that are here and participating. This isn't the Targets and the Googles and the Amazons of the world. This is small to mid-sized companies and what's going well for them. So when you registered for this webinar, we asked a question: what is your #1 employee engagement goal for the year? And the answers were to improve employee morale, improve employee retention, improve communications, and improve employee well-being. Now that purple pie piece is improve employee well-being, and that side on the far left is more than one. And that's really what we're talking about today, is that employee engagement encompasses all of these things. It's employee retention, morale, communication, well-being, and what that means in a culture, right? And really, the past 2 years, a lot of organizations and businesses and programs have been reevaluating the way we work, and many are still trying to figure it out, right? The challenge is to keep employees engaged, happy, and healthy for the long haul, to keep them. And there's no single way to do this. Each organization needs to figure that out on their own and do what's best for them. But what we do know is that employees want to know that they're valued, that there's a connection, that they feel connected to the organization, and that they're cared for. It's not just about the paycheck anymore, right? That's what we've seen over the past 2 years. That doesn't cut it. There needs to be more. People are looking for more. So a happy, healthy, and engaged workforce, we're seeing those organizations in it for the long haul, right? People stay at those organizations. They have high retention rates. They're productive, high productivity rates, have a positive culture, and also great employee satisfaction. So we're going to meet today with the City of Green Bay, a 7-year Motion Connected client, and speak with Amber Van Allen, who is the City of Green Bay Wellness Administrator. Thank you, Amber, for being here.
You're welcome. Hello.
And we're going to hear, before we get into the nitty-gritty with City of Green Bay, we're going to launch a quick video and hear directly from City of Green Bay employees.
My top one would be definitely the employees. The employees here are so welcoming. Definitely the City of Green Bay has a work-life balance, so the culture is a little bit more of a relaxing environment. I think too, just the City of Green Bay overall, we're such a developing community. There's so many opportunities here.
Well, for me, it's the people. You know, when I got here, everybody was very welcoming. We work together as a team. We just know that we're in it together. The people I work with are good people. And that's always makes it nice to go into work, when you get along with the people you work with.
Okay. Oops, I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. Let me get back to my slides here. Here we go. So Amber, we heard a bit about the wonderful people in City of Green Bay. Can you elaborate on your demographics?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. It's always fun to start off something with positive feedback from employees and hear what they have to say. So thank you for that. Yeah, the City of Green Bay, I'm sure most of you have heard of Green Bay because of the Green Bay Packers. So, but we are in northeastern Wisconsin. And the city of Green Bay, we have about just under 1,000 employees here at the city. We have a variety of locations. So any of you out there who work for a city are probably familiar with that they're not just all in one location. So throughout the city of Green Bay, we have locations, City Hall, we have Department of Public Works, which is actually we have one on the east side of town and one on our west side of town. So we have 2 locations there. Our water utility, we have our Parks Department, which includes a park shop, as well as our Bay Beach location and Wildlife Sanctuary are kind of all different locations, but all underneath parks. We have our transit or our metro location, our police station, Mason Manor, which is a housing unit that we have a few employees at. We have parking, kind of mentioned the Wildlife Sanctuary already, and then we have our fire department. So there are several locations throughout the city. As I said, we have about 1,000 total employees, and we have 575 of those that are eligible for our wellness program. What that means is a few of our police officers and firefighters, they are still under bargained contracts, so they have not yet bargained our wellness program fully into their contracts, so we're hoping to eventually get that. And then kind of the last thing there, we have about 449 participants. So out of the 575, so that puts us right around an 80% participation rate for our wellness program.
That's a really great participation rate, especially for a municipality with this many locations. So we're going to go into first, let's talk a little bit about the wellness program and the history of the wellness program before we jump into happy, healthy, and engaged. So Amber, can you lead us through the timeline and how the program started and where you are today?
Yeah, it really began, about 20 years ago, I guess you could say, with the introduction of our health assessment. So Mayor Jaden was our mayor here at the city of Green Bay at that time, really wanted to do something more for the employees as a benefit. So that's really when we started here doing the health assessments for employees as a way to offer a benefit to them, try and be proactive with blood draws and things like that to give employees an idea of where they were with their health. And then kind of fast forward several years later, Mayor Jim Schmidt continued with the health assessments and really was a big driver for a Move with the Mayor program that we partnered with the National Forum, so for Heart Disease and Stroke Prevention. They have a big initiative called Move with the Mayor. They have several they've grown a lot in the last several years since 2015, but we were one of the first cities that did the Move with the Mayor initiative. So we've taken that initiative and grown with that. And then in 2016, we launched our wellness program, our well-being program called Health 1265. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we continue, but that's really when we started it. We started our program with a pilot, so just a few month program to kind of see how it went with our employees. Went well. So then in 2016, the fall of 2016, we started our motion connected platform. So Health 1265 is the name of our program, but it all really is based around motion connected. That is the basis of our program. So since then, we've been doing it ever since. So a few things that we've kind of done along the way too. You can see in 2017, we joined a Green Bay Community Step Challenge. It's a challenge where any employees in the city of Green Bay, employers challenge each other, company to company, in step challenges. So that's been a lot of fun. And then we have a new mayor the last couple of years, so Mayor Genrich, and he continues to support wellness, support movement, support participation in everything Health 1265, which, as we all know, being well-being professionals and human resources departments and stuff like that, that's important to have that leadership at the top, leading it, showing it, and continuing with it. And then in 2019, we didn't always have our transit or our bus operators on our Health 1265 program, so we were fortunate enough to add those to it. And then we started doing on-site health fairs, so wellness fairs. We did one in 2019. 2020, we had one all set to go for the spring, and well, none of us have forgotten spring of 2020, so we know what happened there. We unfortunately had to cancel that one. But then we also started doing skin screenings, so on-site skin screenings. Right now we are up to doing them at 5 different locations, which is really important, especially for the demographics that we have here. If you look at our DPW, our Parks Department, our Bay Beach employees, a lot of those employees spend a lot of time outside in the summer. So it's important to talk about that skincare and really have those on-site skin cancer screens convenient for those employees, at least as the first step. I know there's a lot of great stories from there of, hey, I wouldn't have gone to get this checked out if I didn't have this. So really important to continue to do that. And then really from 2019 to 2022, as we'll talk a little bit more in the future here but we really expanded our mental health programming and continue to do those skin screenings, looking to bring the wellness fairs back. And we'll get more into the Health 1265 program itself. As I said, that's really the basis of our program, and a lot of changes and different things within that program.
Thanks, Amber. It's really interesting to see, especially as we do this webinar series and see different organizations and their success, but also their history of their wellness program, is that it's not like a one and done, right? Each year or throughout the years, it really progresses to serve the needs of the employees and to really meet the organization's goals, which is that's exciting to see. I think many wellness professionals can agree with that. And what is really impressive about your program is that it started with such awareness, building awareness for each employee or individuals, and is now this comprehensive program that is really doing so much for participants. So yes, we're going to go into the details more of the program. There was one question about how participation rates, let me just get the question right, how participation was measured. Let me go into that actual question, sorry, to make sure yes, how are you measuring participation? Is it just attendance, or what does that involve?
So kind of as you'll see when we move forward here in this presentation, in this webinar, is we call our program Health 1265, but Health 1265 is motion connected essentially for us. So we use motion connected and the tools and data that they have to measure participation rates. So out of the 575 that are eligible, the number that we have participate, that means those are numbers that have accounts. We do take accounts with motion connected. So essentially they signed up to create their own account. We do take it then a step further to see how much employees are participating in it. So, you know, that engagement rate, then we take to the next level to say, did they just sign up for an account and do nothing with it? Or are they actually doing things within their scorecard to earn points and do participation type things? So when we look at we have a very small percentage of employees who signed up and choose to do nothing, which is great. So we take all of those numbers into account when we're looking at the engagement rate at that. You know, we have just over 80% of employees who have an account. And when we look at the actual engagement rate, those who are doing something more than having an account, it's in the upper 70s. So there's not too many people who have signed up for an account and then do nothing with it.
All right, that's good to know. That's good to know. So let's jump ahead and get your take, Amber, on happy, healthy, and engaged workforce. What does that mean to the city of Green Bay, and why is it important?
Yeah, I think, you know, employees, like you mentioned earlier, are really looking for that next level when it comes to an employer and a workforce. It's not just, you know, I want to show up and get my paycheck anymore. I mean, you're still going to have those employees who that's all that they want to do, and that's all that they'll ever want to do, which is okay. Not everybody is going to, you know, really embrace what your workplace offers. But I think it's super important to be engaged when you're at work, not only with your job, but the more that you can show your employees that you care about them, not only in the job that they're there to do, but outside of the job that they're there to do, that just in turn then comes full circle essentially. You know, there's more to it than just showing up for a job. They care about their coworkers. They care about their, you know, they take a little bit more personality or personal responsibility, I guess maybe you could say, to it, and it means more to them. So it's something that's super important to us here at the City of Green Bay, which is why we've invested, you know, in a full-time wellness administrator to, you know, show employees that this is something that is very important to the City of Green Bay to offer our employees, and we want them to do more than just show up and do their job and go home.
Right. That's wonderful to hear. So we're going to start with what keeps City of Green Bay employees happy. And this picture, I love this picture. This is this is amazing with the team outdoor walk in the snow. So we're going to start with that leadership commitment. And what does that look like, Amber, at City of Green Bay?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't see snow very often, that was actually in April a couple of years ago. So the traditional Midwest, spring snowstorm, that was it captured. We do every April, we do National Walking Day or Week. So we have walks at each location. So that picture was taken at one of those. And fortunately or unfortunately, our DPW guys, the day that their walk was in the snow. So we embraced it.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, as you can see in this picture here, this is one of our Move with the Mayor walks. So what we do every September is we have Move with the Mayor walks. That's what we partner with the National Forum for Heart Disease and Stroke Prevention and really take that initiative and run with it. So Move with the Mayor really looks a lot different depending on what city does it. We choose to engage our employees more with it. There are other cities who choose to engage their community more, maybe their schools, different things like that. But we really choose to engage our employees with it. So as you can see, our mayor here in the middle, we have 5 walks scheduled at all of our locations the entire month of September. So every day, almost every day, Monday through Friday, there's a walk that week. And then our mayor really tries to get to each of those walks at least once if he can. It's a great opportunity for him in a very organic, I guess you could say, setting. I mean, we're just walking down the street and they're walking with the mayor and, they can talk about whatever. And our mayor,
Right.
fortunately, is very approachable. And I think those kinds of things go a long way with our employees, is seeing him out there doing those walks with them and things like that.
Mm-hmm. What's impressive is that this initiative has continued through changes in administrations, and it's something that really seems to be a great priority to the City of Green Bay.
Yeah, when we first started Move with the Mayor, there were different variations with how they wanted to go about it. So it happened a few years prior to me being here at the city. It went from, an entire couple months of walks to 1 month of walk. But when we narrowed it down to 1 month of walks, what we did instead of just holding those walks at City Hall is we expanded them and had walks at each of the locations that we talked about before, which makes a huge difference. I mean, the participation rate was so much higher when we brought the walk to employees versus everyone coming to City Hall to do that. So that made a huge difference. And then we could engage, supervisors and individuals who are interested in leading those walks, because I and the mayor cannot be at every single walk every single day leading them. So then it really was that location, that champion kind of at that location leading those walks, which then shows those co-workers, at that location, hey, so-and-so's leading this walk. And, it's more than just me or the mayor preaching type of stuff. And, it's that supervisor and those directors showing that it matters as well.
Mm-hmm. Right, really walking the walk. And I think what everyone's going to see today is this common theme of City of Green Bay, the wellness program, and you, Amber, really do such a great job of bringing the wellness to each location, bringing the priority, communicating that, saying that this is something that that leadership is also involved in and stresses the importance in. And I think that really makes a big difference with your overall engagement. Also in keeping City of Green Bay employees happy goes into diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And you actually have a diversity coordinator now on staff.
Yeah, we do. That was a position that we made a new position. I believe it was 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Of course, right when COVID started. But it's definitely something that we've wanted here to incorporate as part of the City of Green Bay. Again, to not show the community and employees that we, aren't just going to talk about it and say that we're, diverse and all those kinds of things, but we're actually going to do programming and have a position that's dedicated to working towards being better at that.
Yeah, and you have internal and external programs. So it's not just for the community, but there are also efforts internally within the organization as well.
Yeah, we're working on several initiatives here with our, D&I coordinator to continue, like you said, not only with the community, but all the way down to, our hiring and, all of those kinds of things. So there are a lot of initiatives that she is working on, both community, so inside and outside of the city.
That's impressive. And you also have being a municipality, there's a deep commitment to safety as well for all of your employees.
Yeah, definitely. We do have a safety manager here at the city. That's probably not a surprise with as many different things as we do. So there's a lot when it comes to safety, as most of you probably realize. So we try and do as many preventative things as we can here at the city when it comes to safety. We know we're not going to be able to prevent every accident from happening, but let's see what we can do to prevent it as much as possible. I mean, we have firefighters, we have police officers. They're going to be in situations that they're not going to be able to think, oh, how exactly should I move in this position so I don't get hurt? They are in, some more life and death situations where they need to think on their feet, and whether they get injured or not, a rolled ankle isn't their first thing. They're worried about their life. So we try and do as many things as we can when it comes to safety that's on the preventative side of stuff. That goes to stretching programs. We have our DPW locations. They do stretching in the mornings right when their shift starts. Even one of the groups in DPW continued through COVID. I mean, they wore masks, they went outside to stretch, they were 6 feet apart, they continued that. So, and that's not me. I don't lead that every day. They've got supervisors, they've got employees who take turns leading it every day, which is really neat. Before COVID too, we also had a physical therapist that would come on site to our police station, as well as some of our fire stations, to work on some of those injuries and things like that employees had, and then really to be there as a resource, if they reached out about it. So that's a big part of the safety that we do here at the city, as far as, trying to stay more on the prevention side to it. And not only those, higher risk injury situations, but those who also work in office. Here at City Hall, I specifically lead a couple groups every single week on 10-minute stretching sessions. So it's a good way to take a break. Obviously, you get the physical benefit to stretching, but then I think the most important part is just the conversation. The conversation that 10 minutes gets. I mean, the laughs, the stories, you just talk about personal stuff, and you just step away from work. So it goes, much beyond just the safety aspect and the stretching aspect of it.
Right. It's really that sense of community.
Yeah, and we also have an on-site occupational nurse. So she's here to help with, any of these injuries that come up, or she's able to, triage them out to whoever needs to where they need to be seen. She does immunizations, injury assessments. She does the audiograms for us, all sorts of stuff.
That's impressive. That's very impressive. And so just to really sum up the efforts to keep City of Green Bay employees happy is that strong leadership commitment, the commitment and also the action of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, as well as that daily safety, that daily prevention efforts as well. Okay, so we're gonna launch a poll. We have several of these throughout today's session. So we want to know, how does your leadership team show support? So the poll is open. We're going to give this a couple of seconds and we'll show the results. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close the poll. Thank you to everyone that is voting. And we'll go ahead and show these responses, sharing poll results. Okay, so 80% invest in employees, high commitment to investing, transparent, honest, and provides clarity, also very important, gives praise, constructive feedback, and is involved. Interesting. Okay, very interesting results. I think it speaks a lot to the organization when leadership really walks the walk, right? Really showing that it's also important. Okay. And doing what you say you're going to do. I'm sorry, let me get back to our screen here and our slide. There we go. Okay, so we're going to move on to signs of a healthy work environment and what that means to be a healthy workplace. And it's one where employees thrive and feel fulfilled, not just physically, but also mentally as well. And we've really seen that over the past 2 years, what that means. And many organizations have had to pivot and have done a good job doing that, but also are placing more value on that mental well-being. So this is where we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of the program and what makes City of Green Bay a healthy place to work. So Amber, do you want to kick off with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Culture of Health Prize finalist?
Yeah, definitely. Amanda, just a heads up, I can only see the quick poll, so I don't know if that's everybody else or not, but I'm seeing the poll results only on my screen. So I don't know if that's everybody else or if that's just me.
Okay. Thank you to everyone letting me know that. Hold on 1 second. And okay. Are we back?
Yep,
Can we
we're
see
back.
them? Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, definitely. So we are excited that we are a finalist for the 2021 Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Culture of Health. I think our mayor says it really well when he says to build Green Bay where we can all thrive. I mean, it takes collaboration, right, at every single level. So being a finalist in something a great honor and like this is it just says that it's validating that it's happening here, that we're not just talking about it and that's what we want to do, but we're actually doing things to do that. I know the mayor is very proud of this and excited that this is kind of the first step in continuing those efforts that we've been working on here at the City of Green Bay.
It's been really impressive for me as I've been learning about not only City of Green Bay and your programs, but also this community aspect. I mean, we just talked about leadership and walking the walk and what that really means, not only for City of Green Bay employees, but what it means to the community. And this Culture of Health Prize finalist certainly speaks to that for sure. So we're going to get into the Health 1265 program. We're going to start with hearing from several employees about what the wellness program means to them.
When I was looking at coming here, that was one of the things that drew my attention to the position was the health and wellness program. It goes back to a friend and colleague had made a similar change and told me that if I ever did something like that, make sure I go somewhere with a health and wellness program. He talked about how that benefited him so much. So, when I was looking and I noticed that they had that and I read more about it, it really intrigued me. And I've been participating since I got here. I've really enjoyed participating. You can participate without judgment, without the fear that people are going to ridicule you or give you a hard time if you don't show up all the time and things like that. To work at your own pace, the encouragement is important. The health and wellness program attracted me here. That was one of the reasons I wanted to be here. So
I love hearing from Jim. Okay, Amber, can you see the slide, Health 1265?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure we're in the right place. I love that video and I love what Jim said, because I think as HR and as wellness professionals, we get into our day-to-day, get into the groove, and we forget that really the wellness program makes such a difference, and it really does attract and retain employees. So Amber, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let's go into the Health 1265 program.
Yeah, just one note on Jim too, and I had shared this with Amanda when her and I had spoke a few weeks ago. it's really neat to hear, Jim, who's been obviously in the workplace and work field for many, many years, talk about that's something that attracted him. I think that's something we expect to hear from maybe a younger generation, like, hey, this is something that draws me into this company type of thing. But it's really neat to see that it's not just that younger generation or those coming into the workforce now that are wanting that extra, benefit and that extra, I guess, personal, part to having a career type of thing. So that's really neat to see with him.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's not just millennials looking for wellness. Yeah.
Yes. Yep, definitely. So kind of diving in a little bit to our Health 1265 program. It's called Health 1265 because 1265 Lombardi Avenue is the address of Lambeau Field. So of course, being in Green Bay, we have to tie the Packers in to some degree. So that's how we do it. And that has been the name of our program since we began several years ago. And then really the pillars of our program is Motion Connected. Motion Connected is honestly the basis of our program. So I can use those kind of interjectory as far as like Health 1265 and Motion Connected. They are our program type of thing. So we have our scorecard set up through Motion Connected to use these 4 pillars. So it's activity, awareness, prevention, and healthy choices. So we base our program on those 4 categories. So everything that we do as far as what we offer for programming, whether that's challenges, presentations, events, all sorts of things, that can be housed in one of these 4 categories. So when we talk about activity, and these are all ways for our employees to earn points towards our Health 1265 program. So I guess before I get into the activity, awareness, prevention, and healthy choices, employees participate in our program in order to earn incentives. So they're working towards earning points on their scorecard. If they reach 1265, they get an extra discount on their insurance premium. If they reach 1500, they get a name entered into a drawing for a prize. 1800, they earn an Amazon gift card, and then 2200 earn 2 entries into the drawing. And then of course, for every level you reach, you get everything in the level before. So as part of earning 1265 points, our employees also need to do a health assessment, and then they need to do a physical with their doctor if they're over the age of 40. So we have those built into our program, and we really want the focus for the prevention side to it to be those employees taking the initiative to see their doctor on a regular basis, as well as get blood work done on a regular basis. I've had several stories of employees not knowing something was going on until they got their health assessment results back, as I'm sure a lot of you have as well. That was an eye-opener to them. So we really take that as a preventative thing. It's not necessarily, oh, you didn't score well on it, you don't get any points. We want them just to participate in it. We want them to be aware of the numbers. We want them to ask questions about them if they don't know what glucose is or how to decrease it, all of those kinds of things. So like I said, our program can, with the activity, awareness, healthy choices, and prevention, those are really the 4 categories that you can earn points as an employee. So each year we really change our scorecard up. There are things that we keep in year to year. Of course, a health assessment stays every year. We do community volunteering, that stays every year. Self-reported workouts. There's a lot of things in there that employees can do that we keep. But every year we change what we do for the activity challenges. So Motion Connected helps a ton with offering just different activity challenges that we can do throughout the year, whether it's a team challenge, individual challenge. They always put a fun twist on it or a theme with it, which makes it a little bit extra fun. One that comes to mind, I believe it was last year, we did a coffee drinkers versus non-coffee drinkers. That was a challenge Motion Connected started. So you picked a team. Were you on team coffee drinkers or team non-coffee drinkers? And then you kind of battled each other to see who could outstep who. So the non-coffee drinkers won. So I went to a couple different locations and set up a few non-coffee drinks for employees to stop by, just as an extra fun camaraderie type of thing to do. So again, that stems from Motion Connected and them having those activity challenges that we can participate in. And then the biggest thing that we change every year is what we offer for presentations and what we offer for challenges each year. We do a Health 1265 survey every July. And then that really shows us the feedback, what employees are looking for, what they want. And we use those results to plan our following scorecard year. So our scorecard always runs from November 1st of one year through October 31st of the following year, which gives us plenty of time doing a survey in July to tally those results, meet with the programming committee, meet with the wellness committee. And then once that November 1st comes, we've got our scorecard essentially ready to go for the entire year. So a lot of the things that we do for presentations and challenges. They change from year to year, and we've really tried to focus in the last couple years on not only just doing a presentation and then being done with it, but do a presentation and then follow that up with a challenge. So for example, last year we had a presentation on sleep, and then we followed that with a sleep challenge. So kind of trying to increase that. We don't just watch the presentation, earn some points, and we're done. We watch the presentation, we take things from that presentation and see how we can, increase the awareness for ourselves or how we can improve for ourselves. Another example of that is last year we did a staying connected presentation. So I had a couple of videos, a TEDx talk that employees were to watch. And then from that, we did a mental health challenge, and that one really focused on staying connected. So there were 4 weeks. Employees had to work on self-connection, family connection, friend connection, and community connection. So really taking, now you watch these videos and you learned about what this connection means and how important it is. Now let's see how we can apply it to our lives. We all know that if you do something once, it's probably not going to stay as a habit. So trying to encourage our employees to keep working at something and not just do a one and done type of thing. Same thing with stress challenge. We did a presentation on stress. I know stress is good. It's not always a bad thing, right? It lets us know we're living, we're alive, we're being resilient, we're working through things. But then we did a stress challenge following the presentation. So I gave employees 4 ideas on kind of things that they could help decrease their stress or manage their stress. So things like positive self-talk, emergency stress stoppers, finding pleasure, or daily relaxation. So it really encouraged employees, now take what you learned from the stress presentation, find which one of these 4 things you might think would work for you, whether it's positive self-talk, finding pleasure in doing things you enjoy, and now let's track it for a few weeks and see where it goes. So just different things like that is really, like I said, the basis of our program, and that's what changes the most from year to year, is what we offer for presentations, what we offer for challenges, and a lot of those I come up with on my own. I try and do just different new things each year because, like most of us know, you never know what the one thing is that's going to hit home for somebody. So you can't stop trying. You can't stop trying to do new things and offering new things because you don't know what that one thing is going to be that maybe makes a difference for somebody.
For sure. And that brings to mind really the whole health approach or whole person well-being approach that your program offers. You're not just hitting them on the physical side. It really takes those other dimensions into account. And we do have a couple of questions, Amber. Can you share what type of HRA you utilize and what does that HRA encompass?
Yeah, we partner with Helix. So they are the company that we utilize for our health assessments. So we bring some nurses from a local hospital here in Green Bay on site. They do the blood draws. So we have them on site for all of our employees. They are at every single location. So employees can do them on site. And then spouses who wish to do that as well, we have a separate Bellin clinic that they can go to do that. So the health assessment encompasses doing a blood draw, and then employees get the results of that blood draw. So as part of the program, as long as they participate in that, they earn the points for that. We do offer some bonus points based on what they score, but as far as earning the actual percentage and earning the 1265, they just have to participate in it.
Okay, gotcha. So your health assessment, biometrics are included in the health assessment, and then you also have surveys as well, which we'll go over those in a little bit. There's one question about the sleep, mental health, and stress challenge. Is that done through Motion Connected? How do you run those programs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's not run through Motion Connected per se. So we did a sleep presentation and we put that video on our scorecard on Motion Connected. So employees would log into their account, view that presentation, and then enter the date that they viewed it to earn some points towards it. And then when it comes to the sleep challenge or nutrition challenge, what I do is I create a log, or I create the challenge, just a Word document type thing. For example, we have a nutrition challenge starting in 2 weeks. So I have a log created for that, just a 1-page log. So employees would print that out, complete the log for the next 4 weeks, and then they take a picture and they upload it to their account. When they upload it to their account, then I, as the administrator, take a look at it, make sure it's not, a picture of a door It's actually their log, and then approve that. So that's how we kind of verify it. So there are some things on our scorecard that are self-reported. You know, I know if it says 200 people watched this presentation, I'm sure there's some people who didn't watch it and just put the date in there. But you know what, if there's, you know, half of them that actually did watch it and half of those that are actually taking something from it, that's a win. So there's a little bit more accountability, I guess you could say, when it comes to some of the challenges. Is they have to submit something, they have to submit a log, they have to at least take a few steps, not just enter a date and then they earn points for it.
Right. I really like that, and how you structure the program so that it's educational, but then action on top of that. Okay, one more question and then we'll move on. Do you get the presentations from Motion Connected?
We have not in the past. I know Motion Connected does have some a lot of resources that we would be able to utilize. So a lot of the presentations, if I can do them, I do them myself. I just put together one that was on gut health, plant forward eating, and food substitution. So I created that presentation, did videos, I did a recipe thing on there, did a bunch of stuff, and I did that presentation. So I try to do as many of them as I can. Of course, when it comes to a presentation about cholesterol, not going to be an expert in that. So then we find someone who is willing to do that. We brought, you know, the American Cancer Society in to talk about cancer prevention and some things that, you know, you can do as an individual for that. So we outsource some of those things as well, bring in people when we can. But if there's topics that I'm comfortable talking about and qualified to talk about, I definitely prefer to do that. I think that brings another personal aspect to the program when someone they know is doing the presentation.
For sure, for sure. And Motion Connected is very agile in working with each organization and what their goals are and what they want to accomplish and what they want to put into their program, and lead through. And there are, to answer that question a bit more on the Motion Connected side, there are other presentations and health education videos that are available and programs that are available. So going into, we talked about those department champions or location champions. Amber, can you touch on the importance of your wellness committee and how that contributes to your program?
Yeah, we actually have a wellness committee here at the city that is made up of employees or champions, as we call them, at each of our locations. So there's a few gaps where we have to fill a couple positions, but we try and have them in every location as much as possible. I mean, they are really, outside of me, they are the next best person to reach. So, I mean, I'm accessible at all times, but they really have a, you know, vision and purpose, and they really care about wellness. So that's super important to, you know, be that gap between me and those employees at locations, as far as letting employees know when health assessments are coming up, letting them know when a presentation is taking place, reminding them to sign up for something. They really do a great job of being that advocate at those specific locations. So we have someone at each of those locations who is part of our wellness committee. And then we also have a Health 1265 programming committee. So our wellness committee meets monthly. Our programming committee only meets a handful or so of times prior to a scorecard year starting. Their job is really to help plan that scorecard, where the wellness committee's job is kind of every single day, you know, to be engaged and do that kind of thing at their own locations. Definitely couldn't do a program without the support of them, especially with having locations.
Right, and you have so many. And a question just came in about that. How do you select the wellness champions? And do they have like a term that they commit to, or a term assignment?
Yeah, so when I started here, there was already a wellness committee. There were several individuals who, you know, were a part of that. And I believe it began because they were someone that was interested in doing it. So they kind of took that initiative and kind of went with it. Since I've been here now the last few years, 3 years ago, we did actually include on our Health 1265 survey if anyone was interested in being a part of the wellness committee. So we found a few more people there. And then, you know, there's no term to it per se. We do have individuals who, you know, they just get too busy with their job or their daily tasks, who feel like they're not doing their position as far as on the wellness committee as a champion to the best that they could. So, you know, they kind of step away from that. So there's just been some kind of flowing with that type of thing. But so far, whenever anyone wants to, you know, kind of step away from it, They still help us advocate for different things that we do. There's still, important role in promoting wellness and stuff like that. They just take a little bit of a different role. So we do have a formal vision and purpose that if anyone new reaches out because they're interested in it, we have them take a look at that. I have them read through that, kind of let them know some of the responsibilities and the roles with it. But there's no official, term for that per se.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. And just we've gone over the incentive a bit, but I think it's worth noting that your first level, by reaching that first level of 1,265 points, that gets you the insurance premium, and everything after that is really gravy. Can you just speak a bit about how easy it is to get these points?
Yeah, I mean, so as I mentioned before, in completing like your health assessment and a physical with your doctor, if you complete the requirements in that section that you should, you're going to get 400 points. So that's 400 towards the 1265. And then you get additional points based on your score. So just by completing your requirements per se, you would get anywhere from 470 to 800 points of your 1265. So right there is a big chunk to start with. You also, on this, as a side note, they can earn PBA dollars, so personal benefit account dollars or health savings account dollars for completing those things. So there is an extra incentive as well to complete them aside from the points and the insurance premium, but then you get money to do that, to use towards copays and those kinds of things. So that, and then fortunately we do have devices that are able to be linked to each person's account. So employees can earn up to 6 points per day for the number of steps they get or the active minutes that they get. So we do limit that at 800 points. We don't want employees just to do that, but if you have a device linked to it and you do your health assessment and stuff like that, probably right there you will be pretty close to 1265, if not over. So then it's really, kind of what else do you want to do? Do you want to take that initiative and try and get more points, and or are you really just interested in some of that additional programming type of thing? So you're going to get people all over the board. But I can definitely tell you, as most of you would guess, right, that 1265 is the goal for most people. But I feel like I hear more and more that the Amazon gift card is now the goal and has been for the last couple of years for employees to get. Like they really look forward to getting that. So which pushes them more. It pushes them, to maybe engage in things a little bit more. Are they doing it for the incentive? Maybe. But do they get something more out of it along the way? Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go into the program results. Now, I know you have some updated numbers for these as well. So Amber, if you want to go over those, and we have a couple slides on program results.
Yeah, so we partnered with the National Forum to put together kind of an infographic on, like Move with the Mayor and some other initiatives that the City of Green Bay has done. So I am actually working with them now to update some of the data on the next slide. But the one right here, so, when we look at like the walking meetings and stuff like that, Mayor Genrich tries to get out there and do as much as he can with having walking meetings, on a weekly basis. Again, that's talking a little bit pre-COVID. Things that we're getting there type of thing. And then we have a lot of walking groups that are held throughout the city of Green Bay. So I myself here in City Hall, every couple weeks when the weather is nice, I try and send out an email to Group City Hall, our whole City Hall, which is where my office is, and say, hey, I'm going for a walk at noon, meet me outside. So, we'll get people to do, a lot of times it's just that little initiative, right, to do that. We have a group at our transit location. They have a big inside garage, so they walk when they can type of thing, which is important, right? We have bus drivers, they're sitting on a bus most of their day. So if they've got a break and they're choosing it to walk, that's great. Same with other locations, it's just so important to do those walks. So it's really nice to see that many departments, take that initiative and try and take those breaks and do those kinds of things. As far as like the actively engaged, the 82%, like I said, we're just a little bit under that now. But still a very high percentage when it comes to wellness programming and well-being programming in general. So we're really happy with that. As far as the 677 million steps, so that was, from November of 2018 to June of 2019. So when I took a look at that, I thought, I wonder how many steps we've taken since November of 2018. So I took a look, and we've got 4 billion steps, which Sounds like a lot, and it is a lot when you think about it, because that means we could travel around the earth 8 times. So I like to always try and put those little things in there when I talk about our results to our employees is, you say, oh, 4 billion steps. Yeah, that sounds like a lot. Woo, type of thing. But if you say, hey, as a team, right, we walked around the earth 8 times since, November of 2018, that sounds a little bit different than just the number 4 billion steps. And then we're really proud of like our active minutes. So the CDC recommends 150 minutes of active activity each week, aerobic, intense, moderate to intense activity. So here at the city, we've been able to maintain over 180 for the last 5-6 years on a weekly average. I think in 2021, we actually averaged 192 active minutes. So maybe that was part because, people were at home, they were doing outside stuff more and things like that, which is really great to see that not only the steps there, but those active minutes and really employees working to get that heart rate up when they're doing activity.
For sure. For sure. And I just want to be aware of time. We have about 10 minutes left.
Yep.
And really what this slide is impressive to me is that cut in hospitalization costs and what your program was able to accomplish in just 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, we're really happy to see, those, when it comes to cost, anytime you can see that number go down is never usually a bad thing. So we're really happy to see that. And then it was fun for our employees also to see, like, where do we compare to the state of Wisconsin and where do we compare to everyone in the United States? There are definitely things that we can improve on here at the city, but sometimes it's nice to take a step back and see the big picture of, not comparing ourselves to ourselves every year, but let's compare ourselves to everybody else. That's sometimes rewarding to see as well.
For sure. For sure. Okay, we're going to go into our next poll, and as we do, I'm going to leave this slide up, but we want to know, I'm jumping around a bit, but I want to know about your wellness program. What components do you use or do you include in your wellness program? Do you include challenges, mental well-being, financial wellness, nutrition programs or services, or survey polls, HRA? So we'll leave this up for about 30 seconds. And then we'll move on. And as we're waiting, the poll is being distributed. It's really great to see what program participants are saying. And in this challenge, or I'm sorry, in this poll, you can choose as many options as you have. Again, we're limited to 5 answers, but we're at about 100% challenges, right? I'm gonna, drops a little bit. You'll leave it open for 1 more second and then we will show the results. Okay, and share. So we have 88% are using challenges, mental well-being, financial wellness. Those have been a good uptick since COVID, so that's good to see. High number of participants use nutrition programs, and then survey polls and HRA. Awesome. Okay, let me make sure I can get back into my PowerPoint and get back. Okay, Amber, can you see what participants are saying?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. So moving on in your program for this year, what are your big goals to accomplish in 2022?
Yeah, I think it says it almost right there on the slide, right? Like, I think it's always important to maintain that engagement, which is just because it's important doesn't mean that it's always easy to do. But I think it is easy to get, stagnant and just do the same types of things year over year. So that's why it's very important for us to take those results from surveys that we have, participation, feedback, those kinds of things, and really change it and offer something different. It doesn't have to be something big that's different every year. One challenge is something and the next year it's something different, or a presentation, or just different things like that. So being something that's, achievable for employees to do, as well, and finding different ways to keep them engaged. And then you and I talked a lot before, Amanda, about just the personal relationships. And, I realize that we are fortunate here at the City of Green Bay to have a full-time wellness administrator. And I also realize that a lot of companies aren't that fortunate to have someone like that. But it's so important to evolve those personal relationships with employees. You have to have that trust with them. you have to be their go-to person for a lot of things. And then in turn, you never know what that's going to open the door for, you know. Are they
Right.
going to be willing to participate more because they know you, type of thing? It makes a big difference. So continuing those types of things moving forward.
For sure. And Amber, I'm going to ask you, what is your personal goal with each employee? You shared that with me a couple weeks ago.
I did tell you that, you know, whenever I see an employee, I always like to say hi, and then I also like to say their name. I think it's so important when you know, walk by someone, and if you say hi, that's really nice to do, make eye contact. Of course, those are great things. But if you can say their name, you know, that kind of perks up a little bit to them. They're like, oh, she remembers my name, you know, type of thing. So I told myself many, many years ago that, you know, it is important to remember people's names and to not be afraid to continue to ask them what their name is if you don't know. You know, I know there's a couple times, you know, where the same employee, I'm like, I do not know your name. I can't, it's going to eventually stick. But, you know, just instead of saying hi, but really, you know, that goes a long way, I think, with employees. It's a small thing, right, to know employees' names. And I know we have, you know, close to 1,000 employees here. And, you know, most of those who are on our well-being program, I probably know their names, their first name, their last name, something about them. It's just so important, and it does go a long way for them personally.
It does. I mean, everyone wants to be seen and heard and valued, and even just saying a name, knowing their name, knowing their spouse partner, knowing their kids, it goes such a long way. Okay, I just have a comment come in. This is so refreshing, especially for a municipality. Often we hear that changing administration's budgets, it's just too hard. I love the long game approach. Congratulations on creating an impactful program. Thank you for that comment. That was really wonderful, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah,
so we're going to move on. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I want to make sure that we get into the engagement piece and what that really means to City of Green Bay and how City of Green Bay keeps their employees engaged at work. And what really comes to mind in talking to my colleagues at Motion Connected, but also talking to you, Amber, is that your program absolutely suits your demographic of employees and you make it approachable and accessible.
Yeah, with us just being at different locations and having a diverse group, which I mean, every company has a diverse workforce. You know, when you really break it down, they do. So seeing how much you can bring it to them makes a big difference. You know, kind of here you can see it, like I host on-site hours at each location. I make myself accessible to employees, so it's not like I don't know when I'm going to see her next. It's like, oh yeah, she's here on this day. I'll ask her that type of thing. You know, trying to keep it fresh and fun as you have there is just doing, you know, different step challenges, getting employees engaged in different ways, and really like walking the walk. I mean, it's so important for them to not only trust you, but then see you do what you're preaching to them to do as well. Is, you know, you yourself be engaged and you yourself do the things that you're putting out there and that you're sharing and those kinds of things, and just making it as personal within reason, right? Of course, that you can.
Right, for sure. And that sense of community, and again, it goes back to knowing each other's names, how welcoming the employees are to each other. And really, you made a big effort during COVID and during the shutdown to keep that connection going, even while so many were at home. Can you talk about your videos with your daughter?
Yeah, definitely. Before I do that, though, it wouldn't be the City of Green Bay if we didn't have a picture without Packer apparel on, right?
That's true. It's
True.
true.
Yeah, so during COVID, I you know, stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit as far as videos and having myself be a little bit more vulnerable that way. My daughter Lakin, who just turned 7, last year she helped me do a couple of videos, which were a huge hit here at the City of Green Bay for our employees. We did a stretching video. We did a video where we did energy balls. We did a video where we did some barley salad. And so she was featured in each of those. And I think that if I would have done another video without her in it, I would have gotten the wrath because she was a huge hit. So it was just something really fun for me to kind of bring them into my life a little bit more. And I think they really appreciated that, you know, how raw it was and fun it was. And I got so many comments about employees, hey, I'm going to try this with my grandkids, or hey, my kids and I are going to do this tonight, or I'm going to show them this. And then really the biggest thing with the stretching was to have employees have a resource. You know, if they want to stretch, where do I start? Like, I don't know, do I just Google something and do that? No, here, watch this video, do it right along with me. And yeah, if you're going to do it, you know, a couple times a week, you're probably going to get sick of seeing me, but it's something there as a resource for them to do. So that was really something, you know, during COVID that I tried to reach out to employees while several of us were remote, or, you know, not getting together and not being in person for different things. So I've already gotten several responses from employees saying, when is your new one coming out for 2022 type of thing. So.
That's wonderful. A question just came in about the recording. Yes, if you need to jump off, a copy of the webinar will be sent later today. So we will definitely get that to you. Amber, you mentioned earlier with the 1265 program, the program committee. So you change your program each year, you adjust it each year. What does that program committee do?
So their main job is to take that survey that we do each year and really dive into those results. So once the survey is out there and we have those results compiled, we meet together as a group and we really just dive into the survey results. We look at what employees are saying about the program, you know, what they're suggesting that we do as far as, you know, what are they interested in, topics they're interested in. I can tell you that, which is probably not a surprise to anyone, that nutrition, weight management, stress, those kinds of things are always at the top. So financial wellness, so those things are ones that we do offer every year, but we do something different. So, you know, we do offer nutrition presentation every year, but it's not the same nutrition presentation. I mentioned earlier, I did, you know, gut health and plant forward eating this year, but in the past I've done a presentation on fat, like what is fat? I've done a presentation on sugar. So it's nutrition, but it's a different topic every year. The same thing with the financial well-being. You know, that's a tough one, I think, for employers to figure out what do we offer financially that's going to help individuals. So this year what we did something a little bit different. We worked with employee trust funds through the state of Wisconsin here. They had a program where employees logged on, they took a 5-minute fitness test essentially to figure out kind of what they would be interested in, and then they were able to access any resources they wanted. I think when it comes to financial wellness, right, that changes for all of us depending on where we are. What I might be interested in right now, fast forward 3 months from now, it might be something a little bit different, right? We have, you know, kids that might be going to college. We might be trying to pay off student debt ourselves. We might be looking at buying a first-time house. Like there's all sorts of things that when it comes to financial wellness, that it changes for everybody all the time. And what people are interested in isn't always. So that's been one of our, you know, kind of goals, is how can we make something that's so diverse offer to all employees that might be what topic that they're interested in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's really impressive is that you really, not only do you survey employees, but you show the results of what they want to work on in this next year. You know, and not everyone does that. And to me, this is really impressive, is that you really show where everyone is and what the goals are for the next year, and then the committee acts on that. I did have a question that just came in. How do you have the videos, how do the employees access those videos that you offer?
Yeah, so we put them on like our YouTube channel, which worked the easiest to get to all employees. So those videos that we shared with all employees, we worked with our IT department, and then they have it on their own City of Green Bay thing. So then I would essentially email out the link, the video link, and then employees could watch it. If it's something that was through the scorecard, once they signed onto their scorecard, they would have access to any of those videos on their scorecard. So kind of two different methods. So employees who don't have a scorecard or are not a part of Health 1265 still were able to access some of those videos that I did last year. And then a lot of the presentations are for our Health 1265 participants. So we want to be able to offer a lot of things for all employees, but I mean, those who are taking that next step and doing Health 1265 do have access, unfortunately or unfortunately, to, you know, a few more resources because they choose to participate in the program.
Right. And again, those are all through, when we're talking about that accessibility, So you have the YouTube channel for everyone, and then those that participate in wellness are using that motion connected app with the scorecard feature to get more.
Yes.
Okay, so we have one last poll that I'm gonna go ahead and launch quickly. Is we want to know, how do you make your program accessible? Do you use an app or a portal, tailored messaging through emails or other tailored message, other ways that you can message or services, programs to specific locations, DEI efforts, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and or offer flexibility to accommodate all employees. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're already over time. Thank you for everyone that's still on. And we're gonna wrap this up. We're collecting responses. And I'll just give it a couple more seconds. And then we're gonna sum up City of Green Bay culture. Okay, interesting. Most use an app or a portal. I'm gonna give this about 5 more seconds and then we'll close. Okay, so 75% use an app or a portal, and just 13%, I'm sorry, up to 22% offer flexibility to accommodate all employees. That's important. That's important. 10% diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Okay, thank you. We're gonna go back to the slideshow, and I'm just gonna jump ahead a bit to sum up. We want to hear about, Amber, what role has Motion Connected played in your overall program and played in your results?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, you know, there wouldn't be Health 1265 without Motion Connected. That really is the basis of our program. And fortunately, Motion Connected allows us to make it our program. So we utilize, you know, Motion Connected as our vendor, but really it's us at the City of Green Bay that are able to change everything that is in our program. It makes it very easily accessible for employees with having an app, having an account, all of those things. I mean, not everyone at the City of Green Bay or at any company is super tech savvy, but having an app makes a huge difference. I mean, employees can watch videos right on their phone. They can do all of those kinds of things instead of having to find a computer or go home and log on a computer. When we do presentations, we bring those to them. So really, Motion Connected is the essential piece to our Health 1265 program.
Okay, and to just really sum up how City of Green Bay makes an effort to keep happy, healthy, and engaged employees, the leadership recognizes employee value, invests in the employees, and actively focuses on diversity, equity, inclusion, attraction, and retention efforts and really sees wellness as part of the solution. Amber, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's important to have well-being and wellness as important as any of those other things that you talk about. And it is here at the City of Green Bay. And so we are very fortunate for that.
Okay, if anyone that's still on has any questions, feel free to enter those in. Amber, last question for you. What tips do you have for organizations that are trying to go from good to great?
Yeah, I think really when it comes to, you know, an organization and their wellness program and well-being program and what they're offering is to really take a look and see if you're offering what your employees are asking for. I know like there's tons of great ideas and things out there, but I know when I first started here at the city, the first thing I did was met with all of the departments, kind of talked about what they like, what they don't like, what they want to see, really got to know them. So, you know, sometimes in an organization, it may mean taking a step back in the essence of, you know, stepping back to get to know employees and get to know, you know, different departments and locations and really, you know, listening to their feedback. So I know our program here at the City of Green Bay is a lot, right? There's a lot going on. We have a lot of stuff, but it didn't always start that way. You know, as we talked about in the very beginning, we started with health assessments and look where we are now, right? It's almost like each of our own personal, you know, lifestyle goals or things like that. You don't just do it all at once and wow, you're happy, healthy, and engaged all overnight type of thing. You know, it takes time and patience and those kinds of things. So, you know, really just seeing what other resources are out there as far as, you know, everyone's wellness program is different, but I think it comes down to, really listening to your employees and finding out what they want, what they're interested in. And then really practicing what you preach. Don't just put it out there and be done with it. If you have the ability to get out there and lead by example, or take the initiative to, start walking groups or start those kinds of things, that makes a big difference.
It does, for sure, absolutely. Amber, thank you so much. If there's any questions that are coming in or that you'd like to ask Amber, please go ahead and put those in. And if anyone is looking for more information on Motion Connected, please feel free to go to our site and we can schedule a demo very easily.